Hey, everybody, and welcome. And it's great to have you here. We are doing a little special that we're trying to do now each month that is going to let you guys know about one of our sponsors, which is Superior Mountain Herbs. And we're going to be speaking with the owner of that company, Summer Dray, about some of the specials that they have this month in April. And it's real important. I mean, these are. Herbal supplements and things that I've used over the years, and I know that they work. And I think the one thing that Dr. Ron, who started that, was known for was the American Indian tea. And the American Indian tea is absolutely fantastic for really getting you healthy, keeping you healthy if you are sick. What happened with me before we get to summer, my experience with that American Indian tea is I had a flu or something that was just destroying me, and I was in bed straight for a week. I wasn't eating, the sweats, everything. I had gotten my hands on that tea, and I was about 95% or so better within a day. And I was up and about, and then my appetite came back, the whole thing. And it's something that I regularly stay on now, and it is the real deal. It's that good. So we're here with Summer, and I want to say hello, Summer. How are you? It's good to see you again. And how is everything there where you are?
Great to see you too. Thank you. Everything's wonderful. We're in Montana, Superior, Montana, and in the Rocky Mountains, beautiful, right on the Clark Fork River, the old Lewis and Clark River. And we've had some cloudy past couple days, but today the sun tried showing her little face. So that was nice.
Yeah, here, I don't know. I think I'm living in England, not New England, because it's like just a constant heavy cloud cover and rain. And I don't know. What can you do? The weather's been nuts, but
it's been like that a lot here the past couple days. Literally,
yeah.
It's felt exactly like England. Exactly.
Yeah, it is nuts. And I used to live over there, so I know what it's like, what it looks like. And oh boy, and I'm thinking, man, I think I must have gotten back into England or something, because it is absolutely pea soup over here. It is just a big shade of gray. But
well, it's interesting because when we have this kind of a dramatic weather change, or the shift, I guess I should say, of weather, a lot of times we it's strange. We anticipate the flu and cold season coming, but we think about that more like winter. But we forget that at the tail end of winter, when we come into this warm, muggy, the temperature changing, the weather, the barometric pressure, everything's shifting and changing. It genuinely does impact our immune system. It's stress on our immune system, that constant fluctuation. That's why in the summertime we're so much more even keel, and then we get into real cold winter, and the viruses are pretty kind of dormant. We start seeing a taper off, but it's this fluctuating stuff like we're experiencing right now, from cold weather to warm, that produces the rain, and then sun comes and then it doesn't. That is stressful on our bodies. Let alone our minds,
It's nuts here, because New England is notorious for having all four seasons in one day. You can actually see all four seasons play out over a 24-hour period. And what's been nuts is we'll have like 60-degree weather, and no exaggeration, we'd have snow on the ground the next day. And
actually, Montana, I hear, is rated like the #1 in the country for having the most dramatic temperature fluctuation in a 24-hour period. We can go from 85 degrees to 15 degrees like that. It's just bizarre. It doesn't happen often.
That's crazy. It's crazy. So what are your specials that you have going on this month in April?
So great question. Like I always do, I tell people this is the time to grab your pen and paper if you're watching or listening, because I do go over things pretty quickly, but I also want you to make some notes if you want. It's the month of April. We kind of talk about spring cleaning our campers, our homes, our refrigerators, our closets, donating, getting rid of trash. But I think we forget to spring clean the body. We've had a lot of fats over the holidays, specific foods we've been eating, a lot of stress that puts a lot on our emotional and physical well-being. We're going through climate changes. We talked about the dry skin, all these different. So we're having all these fluctuations. we forget to kind of rid our body of the toxins and clean ourselves out in
Right.
order to basically do a spring cleaning on our body. So I decided to pick not just one, but really 4 things that I felt were, I mean, I could have put, to be honest, probably 5 or 6 things on there, but I picked 4. And that was even hard for me to narrow down because I think there's quite a few others that are great for, I don't want to use the word over and over again, detoxifying, but ridding the body of the garbage. And
Hmm.
so I'll kind of give you the 4 items. I'll let your listeners do the math on some of them. But they're all 15, that's 15% off each of these 4 products. May not
Got it.
sound like a lot, but when you start realizing the original prices, you go, oh my, that's actually a great deal. So
Yeah.
number 1, the American Indian tea, the famous Indian tea. We'll get into that in a second, what it does, why I've lumped it in with this spring cleaning episode. American Indian tea is usually $110 for a 4-month supply. I promise you, I have never seen it. You've never seen it this low in probably well over 15 years, maybe just about 15 to 18 years ago.
Wow.
It's now $94. So it's on
Yeah.
sale for $94. The lowest sale I've ever done was $95. And then
Hmm.
Dr. Green would do $99. So, it's a great deal. Again, same quart size Ziploc bag, 4-month
Hmm.
supply on average, on sale for 15% off.
Just to
Yeah,
jump in, I can remember when I first got that. I think it was around $99 when I got my first bag of that, and it might be helpful too, just to tell people how to prepare that too, because I think it's very interesting how that tea is actually prepared.
yeah, we'll get into that for sure when we talk about the tea, because I think you're right. I mean, it's it's different than a tea bag, right? So there is a little bit more that goes into it, which I find is kind of part of the charm of making it.
Right.
I do have it in a tincture option that's not on sale, by the way, but I do have a tincture option for people who just say, ugh, I'm not interested in your in your process of brewing, which I get. I do get that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Indian tea, we'll talk about that and why that's in the system of spring cleaning. The other is the Superior Lymphatic Massage Oil. And
Okay.
people go, massage oil, really? Yes, believe it or not. And I'll talk about that. The other is the Superior Liver Detox Extract. It's an extract in a 1-ounce bottle that is also 15% off. And then the Superior Stinging Nettle Tea Bags. Those you're drinking right now, right?
Yeah, I got it right here, and I'm
Yep.
drinking it right now. So
So
it's quite good. I have a little bit of honey in it, and it's wonderful.
perfect. And it's an easy tea to drink, unlike the Indian tea, which is much more bitter. It definitely is an easy tea to drink, good with lemon, or sorry, with honey like that. And that comes with 30 tea bags, usually for $13. And so they're also 15% off. Real quick on pricing, I said the Indian tea is usually 110, 15% off. Lymphatic massage oil, usually 18, it's 15% off. The Superior Liver Detox, usually 20, that's on sale for 17. The Stinging Nettle tea bags, 30 of them for $13, 15% off. So I want to work backwards from starting with the tea bags up to the Indian tea. And the reason is I can get down rabbit holes with that Indian tea. So I want to make sure I don't get so lost in that I kind of don't have time for the other
Yeah.
thing.
I think just the basics of preparation, which I always found to be rather interesting, because you make it differently than any other tea that I've ever seen.
Absolutely. And there's a reason for that. It's interesting because a lot of people with the Indian tea, they'll say to me, well, gosh, I don't have distilled water, or, oh, I don't have a tablespoon. Is it okay if I kind of guesstimate with the soup spoon? And my big thing is, yes, keep in mind, the Native Americans did not have measuring cups and tablespoons and
Hmm.
stainless steel pots and distilled water. I mean, they were using spring water. They were using, clay or whatever they could find, that they made at the time. So, no, you don't need to worry about all that, right? But there is a process. And Dr. Green was also a chemist. So for him, I can appreciate this in him. He did a lot of the heavy duty work for us as far as figuring out how many tablespoons are more accurate as far as, delivering medicinal value.
Yes.
Why distilled water versus any other water, especially well or spring, when it's better than you would think than distilled? It is, but there's some reasons. And him being a chemist also, we just got to take advantage, to be honest, of his incredible knowledge, and learned how to maximize the benefits of the Indian tea by doing this process. So,
Okay.
so let me start backwards, unless you have more you wanted to add on that.
No, just basically tell people like the basics of how it's made and anything else you want to add.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So the Indian tea, starting with the stinging nettle tea bags. Those are great. Stinging nettle is awesome. I don't recommend you touch it or play with it out in the wild, because it does sting you physically and can make your skin really, really itchy and uncomfortable. But what happens is when we dry it and we actually turn it into a tea or a tincture, for example, doesn't carry those same properties over of stinging the insides or anything like that. But one of the things, what I love about this herb is it's pretty multifaceted, like the Indian tea is, except it focuses specifically on, I don't know if it's fair to say the kidneys, but the urinary tract function. Okay. So kidneys are in that process, water retention, edema, that's kind of correlated and interlinked into that process. The bladder, the prostate for men, it's all relative. Well, of course, the prostate isn't necessarily part of the urinary tract, but it's the organ that rests up against either the bladder and or urethra. So it can put pressure and then therefore challenges the urination flow.
Yes.
So the stinging nettle tea bags, it will help to open up the urethra so you can have a lot better flow. It does not shrink the prostate, but it helps relieve a lot of pressure around the bladder and inflammation in that area that could also be putting pressure on the prostate or pushing the prostate up against the urethra. So stinging nettle is great for urinary issues. Okay. Bladder problems. It's great for kidney function. It helps to process the garbage out of the kidneys, feeding the kidneys, giving it great nourishment. But it also helps with kidney stones, breaking up kidney stones and things like that. It's fantastic. We kind of want the kidneys to be moving and flowing, because if we don't, they end up sort of, not backfilling, but stockpiling toxins. And we want to get those toxins out of there. So this helps with the kidney function, pulling the toxins out of the kidneys, and basically relieving some pressure on the bladder.
So it's gonna detoxify the kidneys in effect,
and the bladder,
and keep them cleaned out. So
yep, absolutely. And so I love that about that. Sorry about that. Some of the other great benefits of the stinging nettle tea bags is we use it quite a bit for people with arthritic pain, arthritic joint pain. Because it has a lot of reduction in inflammation there. We also see it being used to help treat people who have whose hair is falling out, because oftentimes a bacteria or those hair follicles, if they become infected, you might not even know it, creates an inflammation response in there, and stinging nettle specifically targets those hair follicles and the scalp. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, really.
I could use some of that right back here. So.
Right?
Yeah.
So stinging nettle is awesome. It's a good tonic for the kidneys. It's really fantastic for that. It's loaded with iron and other great magnesium and other great minerals. So it's fantastic. It's a great nutritive, is what we in the herbal world refer to it as, a nutritive, meaning lots of nutrients, right? Vitamins and minerals, high levels of vitamin C, which ironically most people don't know about, because I don't talk about it much, and I don't know why. But with the Indian tea, one of the things that the tea can do that's not my favorite is it depletes your vitamin C stores. So taking this superior stinging nettle tea bags and drinking the Indian tea during the same time frame, weeks, days, months, whatever, is great, because it'll kind of replenish what that that Indian tea is sort of depleting.
That's pretty interesting. I didn't know that about the American Indian tea.
Most people don't. Most people don't. So whether you do pine needle tea or you do stinging nettle tea, anything like that that's high in vitamin C would be wildly beneficial. You know, there's a lot of philosophies. If you take vitamin C, it'll kill off a cold. Not usually. What happens is you're taking that 9,000 to 10,000 milligrams prior to getting sick or the very early onset symptoms. That's where you're going to see, you know, the benefit of it kind of knocking down that cold.
Yeah. So when you're drinking that tea, the stinging nettle, is there a good amount to take? Can you drink it too much or too little, you know, to get the desired effect?
Yeah, no, it's basically a cup a day. It's about 8 ounces a day is what you want to be taking. You know, we don't want tons and tons and tons of fluid going into the body when we've got kidney dysfunction, if we're on like kidney dialysis or something like that. So, you know, I would say the once a day, 1 cup a day would be ideal. Now, I do make something else called Superior Flow Relief. That's not on sale this month, but it is a tincture, and that is actually made with stinging nettle. And that you do only want to do 4 full droppers a day, no more. Just because it's so highly concentrated and super packed in there. So that's stinging nettle, great for detoxifying the kidneys, the bladder, and kind of helping that part of the system be clear.
Yeah.
Medications are horrible for kidneys, horrible. So we've got to relieve some of that detoxify those kidneys, even from medications we take. I mean, my own stepfather has gone through, well, he's in kidney failure, and unfortunately he doesn't believe in anything natural. But he is in kidney failure because of his medications for his heart. His heart medications were given to him because he has diabetes. I mean, you know,
right.
We just follow the train of
one
crazy
thing leads to another.
Always. So let's detoxify and help the kidneys out. So now we don't get kidney disease or kidney infections or kidney stones and things like that. So that's number 1. The next is the Superior Liver Detox. Now, what I like about this detox is it's not so potent and powerful that you're going to go into some, you know, frenzy, like a flu-like frenzy because of the detoxification process. I love that about this. It's gentle enough that you don't notice a huge amount of change, but at the same time, your liver definitely feels it. You actually might notice even in your stool or in your urine that you might be passing specific things because we're kind of filtering out filtering out the liver, pulling the garbage that the filter's collected out of there. So the liver detox, it's got things like burdock and milk thistle and dandelion and a handful of other different herbs that I create into an extract. So it's much more potent. We don't take it daily. How do you take it? I just kind of like people to play with it a little bit, but here's my direction on that is start off maybe with 10 drops in water each evening. Our liver does a lot of repair work at night. Most of our organs do, including the brain specifically. But I like to help feed and nourish, and like burdock is great for feeding the liver and things like that. I like that stuff to happen in the evening and to kind of allow it to settle in. So one of the things that I do is tell people start off with maybe 10 drops once a day in water in the evening before you go to bed. Drink that, do that for a couple days. Then go ahead and get it up to 20 drops a day or 10 drops twice a day, in water. Maybe do that for 3 days to a week and then stop for a couple days or stop for a week. Maybe do it for 2 weeks straight. Then go ahead and stop for maybe a month. And then, so intermittently utilizing this specific product because we don't want to constantly detoxify the liver. We already should be eating certain foods and things that'll help aid that. And of course, as you know, with the state of the world today, with GMO foods and the chemtrails and everything else that's going on, we've really got to be buying organic foods. And even then, we're really kind of not getting we may not be getting a lot of the pesticides, which is fantastic, but we are still getting a lot, where we're not getting a lot of, is minerals and vitamins. So that's
Hmm.
why it is important to kind of keep the liver and the gut system, the bowels moving, the kidneys moving and functioning, getting rid of toxins, disease, etc., so that these minerals that, for example, the stinging nettle tea bags, or the organic foods that you are eating, the minute amount of minerals that are left, because there's been so much over farming and
Yeah.
everything else, it really is beneficial to rid your body of the garbage so that those actual minerals and vitamins can latch into the bloodstream a lot
Yes.
easier. Um, by the way, there is I don't know if I've mentioned this before, there's a fantastic documentary called, I think it's on YouTube, and it's called What in the World Are They Spraying?
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
saw that years ago. That's an interesting documentary.
it's fantastic. I just love it because it's easy. It's easy, really easy for any, Tom, Dick, and Harry to watch it. You don't have to be incredibly intelligent or well, even traveled in the world of herbs or what's going on with the government. You don't have to know
Mhm.
anything. And this will help you open your eyes big time. And I love that it's factual stuff. This isn't conspiracy theory stuff, which I'm proud to say I am. But, I mean, yeah, this is the real deal. So anyway, so detoxifying the liver is really important. You don't have to be a heavy drinker or a smoker to need a liver detox. If you're eating foods that are bought and sold here, even if you're growing your own, we need to detoxify our body. The
Yeah.
liver is your blood filter. It filters all of your toxins. Your skin is the largest organ in and on your entire body, and we are constantly absorbing in all the bromium and aluminum and all the different toxins and the mercuries and all these different things into our skin, into our digestive tract. It goes, where does it go? It goes into our blood. We've got to
Yes.
clean the blood. There's some great products like Podarco, which is another bark that you can utilize to cleanse the blood. But we're talking specifically the liver, not so much just the blood, but the entire filter of the liver. So that's on sale, 15% off. I think from $20, that takes it down to about 17. I am not a math major. So, and then the other is the lymphatic massage oil. There are some great podcasts out there about lymphatic massage and lymphatic drainage. And
Yeah.
the word lymphatic drainage is just such a weird, creepy. It sounds like you're draining a cyst or something. And actually, you are. Your lymph nodes are in, you've got them under your armpits, you've got them in your groin area, they're in your neck, they're all over the place. That's why the doctors are constantly feeling if you're swollen. If they are, it's a great thing to do is massage the heck out of those. Gentle, but consistently massaging and milking that, right? Or your groin area or wherever the lymphs might be, either inflamed or not. What happens is the just like our blood vessels, the
Hmm.
lymphatic system has little, I don't want to call them veins, but little sort of capillary type deals that reach out very far and thin. And it goes through the layers of the fat right underneath the epidermis and the skin. And so you don't need to massage and work this stuff in. It literally is just a gentle working,
Hmm.
circulating massage. The idea is we want to encourage those to activate and move the toxins out of the lymph nodes back into the bloodstream. And I had a lady say the other day, oh, back in the bloodstream, that sounds horrible. And I said, yeah, but that's your filter's job, right? Your liver filter. If your filter's clean, then it
Hmm.
can do a good job of removing these toxins. Now you're starting to put the puzzle pieces together as to why I have these specific things.
Right.
You can do all the lymphatic massage release you want, the drainage that you want, but if it's all that stuff is now floating and your liver's bogged down and it can't process, it's like standing in line at Black Friday. You can't get in the door. The blood can't get into the liver, and the liver can't do its job if it's bogged down.
Right.
So we want to do both of these. The lymphatic massage oil is a blend of two different oils. They're organic oils that I use. And the neat thing about that is what they do is they help to reduce the inflammation in the lymph nodes and to kill off the infection as it's trying to move out of there. And then in the massaging process, you're kind of breaking that up, relieving or releasing it into the body. You know, you don't have to do fancy lymphatic massages, right? I mean, you could bring this stuff to your massage therapist. You could do it yourself, but it does tell you on my instructions, don't use it for more than 30 minutes at a time.
Right.
Or let's say you're doing this for 10 minutes, 10 minutes, another 10 minutes, you're done, even if it's throughout the day. Because we don't want to do too much lymphatic massage. The body does have a process, and we want to allow the body to use its own natural process. I was going to say, you don't have to necessarily tap into the massage therapists and all these fancy schmancy bougie things. You can do something as simple as get out and exercise, even mild walking. Even if you're an office person, you're sitting in your chair doing this, opening your armpits, doing these weird chicken dances. That stuff all actually moves the lymph nodes. And I heard this really great analogy. I'm kind of an analogy person, and as you can tell with the whole Black Friday, sale comment, I really like the lymph nodes are almost like seaweed, like kelp in the ocean forest.
Mm-hmm.
They sort of ebb and flow. And it's rare that they just stand there like this. But when they do, that's when stuff starts attaching to it and barnacles and things. It starts getting weird. So when there's a flow in the water, that's when it really does a great job of moving things away and getting it out of there. So the massage is really important. And that lymphatic massage oil just helps that process through quite a bit. So that's on sale, down from $18 to, gosh, would that be, I'd have to do my math. That's 15% off that as well.
Yeah.
So, all right. Lastly is my famous American Indian tea. And I say mine because it was Dr. Green's, but let's be honest, it wasn't Dr. Green's. It was the Native Americans. They set foot on this ground prior to us and may not even be theirs either. It really belongs to the Lord Almighty. But he put it there for them to specifically learn to use. One of the really cool things that they did is the natives, we still all do this, native or not, as hunters, we pay attention to certain herds, and they would notice certain herds of animals would be getting, that were sick, would get better by eating a specific mushroom that grew on a specific type of tree. So they started thinking, well, if it's good for the goose, it's got to be good for the gander. So they went over and began harvesting this, and their elderly were getting better. People who were sick were no longer sick. People who could not have children were reproducing. Ailments were going away. People could eat things they couldn't eat before. Just fantastic. So clearly it was a high value.
Yeah.
And so they want to protect that very much. And I want to protect this mushroom out in the forest because while it is a fungus and it does grow, it's not, we got to be careful with how much we over harvest things. So we do this, we sustainably harvest it. We wildcraft it out there ourselves. We do go into remote areas, and oftentimes we'll abandon or leave smaller mushrooms to grow and develop rather than raping the land of everything where there's nothing left to repopulate. And that's what sustainability is all about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love the Indian tea. It was just as powerful then as it is now. The only difference is we know more about it now. We've got a little bit more science on why it works and how it works and what are the better benefits. So just to go over how you make the tea, folks don't need to write this down. You don't need to even memorize any of this. This is just kind of interesting, fun little facts here. It comes in a quart-sized Ziploc bag. You open that bag up, you take 3 heaping tablespoons, throw it into a stainless steel pot or a glass pot with distilled water. Why distilled water? Especially when the natives probably never used it. I don't even know if they had distilled water. So why? What Dr. Green discovered, one of the added benefits of drinking the Indian tea is it helps encourage more oxygen to flow throughout your blood. So it oxygenates the blood. Now it doesn't not give you oxygen if you don't use distilled water. Like it doesn't deplete your oxygen stores, but what it doesn't do is give you the added benefit of more oxygen. So if you have a brain disorder, if you've got, Alzheimer's, dementia, if you have stress, anxiety, if you have sleeplessness, if you have sleep apnea, I should say, if you have a heart related issue, or you naturally have low oxygen levels, you probably should be using distilled water, because you'll get that added benefit. Is it mandatory? No, but don't use chlorinated water, please, for multiple reasons. Chlorine is like the devil, literally. There are so many other alternatives out there. Chlorine bleach, Clorox, Lysol, all these things that have chlorine in them. Chlorine's a registered pesticide and will cause brain cancer over time. It's just a matter of when we get it.
Yeah.
So stay away from that. Okay. So getting back to the Indian tea, what you do is then you take the 3 heaping tablespoons, you put it in with a quart of preferably distilled water, or well water, spring water, natural water. You put a lid on top of it. I usually turn it on high, let it boil for just a second, kind of like you would pasta, just let it flip around. Then I turn it to low or simmer, and I leave it there for about a half hour. Okay. Then you strain it, or you could use a strainer. I just use the lid and kind of use the lid to pull it back. And then I put it into 4 separate jars. Dr. Green just used to do 1 big giant jar. I put it into 4 separate jars, because we drink the tea 4 days on, and we take a 3-day break. So I like to just pull a jar out each day and pound that down. Hot or cold, doesn't matter. Do not microwave it. Microwaves kill the molecular structure of your food and water. So don't microwave it. It basically makes it powerless. So then anyways, we drink the tea, preferably first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. If you can't do that, that's fine. Again, it's just when the system is clean and clear, then it can actually absorb into the bloodstream a lot more efficiently.
Got it.
Oh, the benefits of the Indian tea. Oh my gosh. Everything from kills cancer cells because it raises the neutrophil count, the good white blood cells. It's a mild natural blood thinner. It helps to restore, your oh gosh, what am I looking for? The integrity, the strength of your organs. It acts as a tonic for the organs in the body. It's fantastic. We've seen heart valves regrow where there were pig valves before. We have seen people who needed amputations no longer need amputations. We've seen people who were in stage 4 terminal cancer no longer have cancer. This tea is amazing. And what I do love about it, if you've ever gotten the jab, because it is not a vaccine. Vaccines are intended to prevent disease, not suppress side effects of disease and other things that we probably can't talk about too much.
Right, exactly.
So I am not a doctor. I need to preface with saying I am not a doctor. I am somebody who values the generations of knowledge in herbal remedies, done extensive research. I am also working on my certification for being an herbal formulation master. And so my passion, my heart is in helping people to restore what God gave them, to help them utilize what God gave them to put in the body that God gave them.
Right.
They can then go out to the world that God gave them and help spread the good news, and so that's my heart and my passion. And for me, the Indian tea is wildly beneficial because it does keep our bodies in a state of perpetual wellness. It helps us constantly be able to go out in the world and do what we need to do because it builds the immune system. It acts as armor. It detoxifies our gut system. So how does this relate, right? We were talking about how it relates to the spring cleaning part of it. And one of the beautiful aspects is it actually helps to chelate, meaning removing environmental toxins from the gut. Bacterial toxins, viral toxins, and infections that are in the gut system. It helps to pull that through. So sometimes people, especially in the very beginning, if they're really toxic, and I don't mean emotionally toxic, physically toxic, they will actually experience probably a significant amount of diarrhea. That's actually a great sign that it's working and getting things going. Your adrenals might, you might get stuffy one day and have a headache with the Indian tea for the first time you use it. It's because it's going after the adrenal dysfunction you might have. It's very powerful, really amazing. And I'm always happy if people want to give me a call, by the way, at my office. You can call or text. My number is 406-274-6955. 7579. You can always find all my products, all my sales, everything that I have. I've got a section for $20 and under if you're like me and you're very frugal. So I've got great gifts in there, soy candles, things that are made with all natural ingredients. You know, I try to do everything with intention, including making candles and things like that. So you can also go to www.superiormountainherbs with an S, herbs.com. Again, superiormountainherbs.com. And the number again is 406-274-7579. I kind of operate, Kevin, you probably know this. I operate a little differently than a typical doctor's office or nurse practitioner or even a holistic naturopath, because I don't have an appointment schedule. I like people to call in. We spend as much time or as little time as we need to on what your health concerns are, what your habits and lifestyles like, what's going on with you. Let me listen to your inflection in your voice and doing these different things that can help me gravitate towards what might be beneficial for you in particular. So I always encourage people to call me and utilize me as a resource. I don't know everything, and I am not a doctor, so I will not give you specific advice on what to do with your medications, but I'm happy to take a look at the medications you're taking, see if it's something I would be taking based on other things that might be available, just offer my opinion.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Very good. Very good. And that's excellent. And before I get off the air with you, I got to ask, who is that lovely dog that's been pacing the floor around behind you?
She's telling me, Mommy, I got to go potty. So I actually, one of the it's interesting. The way I met Dr. Green was I was a stay-at-home mom. I believe for me personally, if you can afford to do it, to stay home with your children when you're raising them. And so just because I want to instill my Christian values, I want to give my perspective on the world and how God intends us to see the world and how to treat people. And so for me, I wanted to stay at home with my kids and I needed side work. So I ended up working for Dr. Green. I met him because he said, well, there's no way you're going to have enough time in the day to work for me, you know? And I said, well, if I can work from home, I'd love to. And so he goes, well, do you have another job? And I said, well, I'm a mom, but I also breed Italian Mastiffs. And he said, what are those? You know? And so when he first came to visit at my home office, he was very intimidated by these 130 to 160 pound dogs, you know, that are just very protective.
Yes.
So I own a kennel with a business partner called Grizzly Mountain Cane Corso. It stands for Grizzly Mountain's Italian Mastiff Bodyguard. And so that is Cana. Cana is a 1-year-old, beautiful blue female Cane Corso Italian Mastiff, and a naughty girl.
Pretty funny. Yeah, dogs are fun. They really are. As a matter of fact, our cat is her 5th birthday today as we tape this. So she turned 5 today.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Big gray cat. She was like this big when I got her. Now she's like, she can almost get up to the counter, kitchen counter. It's hysterical.
Oh my word. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
it's
great.
a trip. It's a trip. And then we got our dog. She's 4. She'll be 4, I think it is, in August. So it's a little,
you know, Kevin,
Westy.
And interestingly enough, the Indian tea, I actually give it to all my dogs, especially my breed stock dogs. Yes, because not only does it help with overall immune system, it cleans out the parasites. So it's great for humans. I eat a lot of sushi. And I think you've heard me say this before. And so like for me, the parasite aspect of it cleansing parasites, we've actually watched it under a microscope be added to a parasite. And then it begins just activated and works right on that parasite and kills the parasite. So the Indian tea is fantastic.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I use it for the dogs for that. So I don't have to use harmful dewormers. But it also, I had a dog who needed he had an ACL tear and he was not recuperating very well. So I had to give him Indian tea. And within 6 weeks, the vet was like, holy cow, he did a complete turnaround. His blood work looks great. The infection is gone. And we didn't put him on an antibiotic. I wouldn't do it. And the infection's gone, she said. And his creatinine levels balanced back out because they were out of sorts. This is all from the Indian tea, you know? So the Indian tea is fantastic for pets as well. Cats. I had a cat who was urinating blood, had a serious bladder infection. And it was like the cat was so bizarre because he had a litter box and he would go outside. But what he never would go to the bathroom in my shower, ever. But the day I walked into the bathroom, he looked at me, he jumped on the bathtub, and he peed in the shower. And I thought, what in the world? And that's when I saw the red blood. But thank God he did that, because he did it up against the white so I could see it. And I went, oh, it was like he was telling me, hey, you've got to see what's going on. Something's going on with me.
Yeah, something's going on here.
So what I did is I gave him syringes, and with a cat, they can be a pain in the butt when it does this. I had to wrap him in a towel so he wouldn't claw me. And I syringed him 3 droppers of the Indian tea, not the tincture, because the tincture is it's got alcohol and it's very, it'll burn as it goes down. So I just drew up Indian tea into like a little, dropper, and did 3 full things down there. I did that twice in a matter of, less than 24 hours. No more urinating blood. That fast.
Wow.
That small of an amount. It's amazing. Amazing.
Wow, that's incredible.
But four-legged animals, their bodies function so much faster than ours, so they process it a lot quicker than we do.
Oh, okay. So let's do this. Why don't you give people your contact information again? And so, folks, if you want to get in touch with her, this is the way you want to do it, and you can ask her questions, and she'll take the time with you to answer whatever questions you may have. So, Summer, let's get the people watching that information.
Yeah, thank you. So, okay, write this down. My phone number is 406-274-7579. 406-274-7579. The website that you can go direct and order yourself. And if you spend $200 or more, you get free shipping. That's where you can see the different sale items. Every Friday, I do a flash sale on something completely off the wall and different. And it's usually a pretty substantial sale. At the very bottom of my website at www.superiormountainherbs.com, superiormountainherbs.com. At the very bottom, it says subscribe. If you put your email in there, I promise I never send any junk mail. What happens is once a month, you'll get an email with what I've got going on for the month as far as the sale. And then every Friday, you will get the flash sale. Now, why we do these shows is because there's so much more detailed information that I'll give you in a very short, price list or what is on my actual website. We can get into so much more detail this way.
Yeah.
So that's the website. And you can look around, peruse around, do whatever you want in there, share it with a friend. You can buy gift cards. There's some wonderful Mother's Day gifts on there for health and wellness. We want our moms to be alive and stay alive. It's a really big thing. We also have, you can text me at that phone number. I'm great on text messaging. And then lastly is my email. And that is Summer, which is my name, just like the season, Summer at superiormountainherbs.com. So Summer at superiormountainherbs.com.
And that's great. Summer, thank you once again for joining us. I'm going to let you go, but just hang out for a minute after we go off the air. And folks, I'm Kevin Gallagher. Thank you very much for joining us for Summer Dray. You've been checking out the latest specials of the month that we have for Superior Mountain Herbs. Make sure you give her a call and get some great product and get your questions answered while you're at it. And until next month, hang in there. God bless you, and have a great summer coming up. I'm so looking forward to summer because I'm so sick of winter. I'm sick of all the horrible weather and all the rain and everything else. Summer can't get here soon enough. Folks, God bless. Have a good one. Bye-bye.